Welcome to Into the Night. I'm Nari, your guide on today's excursion down a twisted path. Be careful not to get lost. Be it dark or light, it's easy to lose your way. Are you ready? Then let's begin. The Importance of Good Neighbors, Part 2. The next night, Janice and her mother met Alice at her house. She was the only co-worker who had ever been to Alice's hideaway home in the woods, and that spoke volumes about Alice's opinion of Janice.
Jerry couldn't come with us tonight. He was sent on an emergency call. Electricians kind of have to go when a customer has a serious problem. Mr. Patterson's weatherhead on his house was damaged by this morning's storm, and he needs it working for his wife's oxygen machine, so Jerry left. He told me to tell you he'll miss seeing you, Alice.
Oh, he's just sorry he won't be here for some of my chocolate chip cookies. Here, grab a few and we'll be on our way. Alice held the platter out for Janice and her mother, Connie.
Oh, these are still warm.
Thank you, dear. Connie grabbed a third and fourth one for good measure. Soon the three of them pulled up to the gate. Lenny stood in the dark waiting for them. Alice jumped when he appeared at her driver's side window.
Excellent. You're right on time. Give me a moment to put my dog up, then I'll open the gate for you. Thank you for coming by. We wouldn't invite just anyone here, but it's so important to have good neighbors.
Lenny smiled, stepped back behind the gate which closed after him, and whistled for his dog.
That's not any ordinary dog. What is that thing, Alice?
I don't think I've ever seen one like that. Alice rolled her window up for a little added protection. Connie chimed in.
It sure looks to me like one of those wolves we saw when your father and I went to Yellowstone.
Yes, a wolf. It certainly looks like a wolf. Alice thought of her sweet English shepherds and her little Shih Tzu and wondered why anyone would need a beast the likes of Lenny's dog. A few moments later, the metal gates slowly opened. As the car approached the house, a mansion really, the three women couldn't help but gawk. In addition to the house, 3 or 4 other large buildings lined the paved drive. When he said compound, he wasn't exaggerating. Alice pointed at a building to her left. That looks for all the world like a hangar.
It most definitely does, dear.
Connie had already had more excitement than she had in a while. Not since she dialed a wrong number and enjoyed an hour-long conversation with some nice man in Brooklyn. She couldn't contain her glee. Lenny met them in the Circle Drive in front of the Spanish-style villa. They introduced him to Connie, and then Lenny walked them inside. While not posh, it was splendid in its own eclectic way. Artwork, including detailed sculptures, decorated each room as Lenny gave them a tour. Is that an African mask? Native American, perhaps. Lenny did say he had traveled many places. A tall man, exceptionally tall in fact, entered the living room where Lenny sat with the ladies. He smiled and extended his hand to greet them.
Good evening. It's nice to meet you. Lenny has told me so much about you. I'm Lenny's father, Melvin.
He doesn't look a thing like Lenny. But then again, family genetics can be strange. I look nothing like my sister. It's a pleasure to meet you, Melvin. Your family has a lovely home. Thank you for having us over.
Alice, right?
He looked to his left.
And you must be Janice. Lenny has described you so perfectly. I feel like I already know you.
His comments raised the hairs on Alice's arms, and his oddly long arms and hands didn't help matters. But it was the photo hanging on the wall that captured everyone's attention.
That's a nice shot, isn't it?
Melvin beamed. Is Lenny standing next to what I think it is? Is that really a UFO? Alice stared in disbelief.
That it is. It's been a while since that was taken. Would you like to see some more?
Lenny nodded toward his father, who motioned for the women to follow him down a hallway.
If you need to use the restroom, it's this door to the left, ladies. We're going to the control room at the end of the hallway.
Control room? Janice squeezed Alice's hand for support. Connie looked like she was on a grand adventure. Maybe at her age, she's not as worried about death, but I am. Are these people crazy? Are we going to be on the next missing persons show? This may have been a mistake. Lenny pulled a strange triangular-shaped object from his pants pocket. About 3 inches in length, it filled his pudgy hand.
Give me just a moment, ladies. There's a code I must enter as well.
He flipped open what could have passed for a wall thermostat and punched numbers on a keypad. A clunking sound signaled that the door unlocked. Lenny turned the handle and ushered them in. Control room aptly described what they saw. Panels and switchboards with flashing lights filled the room. Monitors lined the walls, most flipping from view to view like those behind the scenes at Las Vegas casinos. Alice wasn't sure exactly what was shown on the monitors, but the room was quite busy. Computer screens rolled digital readouts across them, and an occasional buzzer or bell went off. Sitting on one desk was a red phone. Lenny saw Alice staring at the phone. "That's our direct line. Anytime anyone, anywhere wants to contact us, they use that red phone." More UFO photos hung on the wall. Connie, never one to hold her tongue around strangers, said, "Just what movie studio did you take these pictures at? I don't recognize these from any movies I've seen, and I've seen about all of them. Although that alien character there with Melvin looks like one of those beings from War of the Worlds." Melvin cleared his throat and shifted from one leg to the next as he stood behind the ladies.
"Connie, I can assure you that these are not movie props. They are real aliens and ships."
Connie squinted her eyes as she peered closer at the photograph. "You don't say. I've waited my whole life to see one in real life. Do you think there's any chance you could introduce me to one?" Lenny and Melvin stood in awkward silence. Then Lenny spoke up. "Miss Connie, we work in very classified conditions. I'm afraid such a meeting is not possible. However, would you like to hear some of the recorded interviews we have with the aliens?" "Recordings? You don't say." Connie wasn't the only one interested. Alice and Janice silently nodded their heads up and down.
"Very well. You must understand something first, however. There is a battle going on up there."
Melvin pointed his long index finger up toward the sky.
"There are good aliens and there are evil ones."
"How come none of this is on the news, then?" Janice nudged Connie with her elbow. "We don't want to be rude, Mother." "No kidding. We don't know what these people might do."
"It's quite all right, I assure you. She reminds me of my dear Marjorie, always asking questions that make our son, Lenny, uncomfortable."
Right then, Lenny came back from a room with reels of tape and an audio machine. For the next several hours, time got away from them, and none of the women knew just how long they had been there. They listened to computerized voices on the recordings. "Their languages have been synthesized by our computer program, so they are audible to humans. I mean us. People." Melvin gave Lenny a stern look. Aliens from planets far beyond our own solar system shared their messages with Earth. There were the usual promises of peace and goodwill. A few mentioned the galactic warfare Melvin had previously talked about. The longest recording came from an alien named Insignor, or at least that's what it sounded like. Alice secretly jotted down notes on a pad she kept in her purse while supposedly searching for a piece of gum. Insignor told of plans for his people to one day make themselves known to humankind. He told of epic battles to protect this planet. He spoke of faraway planets and gave details that were meaningless to the three captivated women in the room. Melvin and Lenny, however, nodded in agreement from time to time and interjected the occasional yes or absolutely in support of what the alien said. Finally, Lenny shut the audio machine off. "There are so many other tapes. However, you've gotten the gist of our research. Now, if you please, I will escort you to your vehicle." Melvin rose.
"Thank you for a lovely evening. We do so enjoy having you as a neighbor."
He shook Alice's hand and then those of Janice and her mother. Lenny walked them to Alice's Chevrolet. "Ladies, it's been a pleasure. Alice, may I speak with you for a moment, privately?" Glancing toward her two friends, Alice tried to act fearless as she strolled down the walk with Lenny. "I realize that was a lot to take in. Please understand that we allowed you insight into our lives for two reasons. First, we are forever indebted to you for the marvelous care you have given my mother. She has a rare skin condition. Sunlight causes terrible blisters, far worse than a normal sunburn. We received a call from Dr. Steinman earlier letting us know she is conscious and ready for release. I can't thank you enough for the care you have given her, and for the kindness you have shown me." "Lenny, we've been happy to care for your mother. We've devoted our lives to caring for those in need. As far as being kind to you, there's no need to thank us. We like you." Lenny lifted his face to the sky. For a moment, Alice thought he might cry. He took a deep breath and exhaled slowly. "What's the other thing?" Alice now looked at the sky, too. "You said there were two reasons you had us over tonight. What is the second?
You're a good neighbor, Alice. When we moved here, you didn't try to force yourself into our lives. You gave us our space. That means so much to us.
I think we both live out here to have our privacy.
Yes, it's true.
The two stood in silence for a moment.
Listen, Alice, to a certain extent, we are kindred souls. What you learned tonight is true. There is a great battle raging over this planet. The government keeps it secret. No more than 20 people in the world, and now you three ladies know of this war. Things could become dangerous someday, and if you ever need us, please call us. Our red phone works both directions. We will help. After all, it's important to be a good neighbor.
With that, he walked her back to the car and bid them good night. The three women sat in silence as Alice drove them to the open gate and then to her own home 2 miles away. The stars blazed brightly, and a full moon illuminated their faces through the windshield. Only once they were inside the farmhouse did they let their guard down.
I've never been so frightened and excited and enthralled all at the same time.
Connie grabbed 3 more cookies off the platter on the countertop as she spoke.
Mother, I know this was a huge event in your life, in all our lives.
I don't think we should ever speak of this to anyone outside the 3 of us. What do you think, Alice? I agree. It could be dangerous. The 3 women swore to carry the secret with them to their graves. The next night at work, Marjorie Henson was no longer in room 12A. The day shift had no record of her being discharged, but she was gone. Life resumed its normal routine. Alice never again saw Melvin or Lenny, and if she was busy, it was possible to forget for a moment or two that the compound existed. 2 months later, sitting on her porch enjoying a late summer evening, Alice witnessed a spectacular meteor shower. Funny, I hadn't heard on the news that one was expected. They usually make a big hoopla when these things happen. The next morning on her way to work, something caught her eye. The gate to the compound was flung open. Maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like I should drive to the house to see if they're okay. Pulling into the circle drive, she saw the doors wide open to the house. The scene looked like the hasty eviction of renters who had squatted too long and who fled into the night. The next night, the meteor shower continued. 2 days later, a delivery truck driver knocked on Alice's farmhouse door. "A package for Alice Cameron?" "That's me." "Here you are, ma'am." He handed her a nondescript white box. "No need to sign. Have a good day." Stepping inside the house, she set the box on the kitchen counter and pulled a steak knife from the utensil drawer to slit the packing tape open. Inside, wrapped in tissue, was the one item Alice would never forget from the compound: the triangular key. A note sat at the bottom of the box. "Dear Alice, please use the red phone. It's urgent. The war tides have turned. The code is 86392. Your neighbor, Lenny." Thank you for joining me for Into the Night, an anthology series written by Caroline Giammanco and narrated by Nari. If you like what you heard, please leave us a 5-star review. You can also contact us with the information in the description. Be sure to share with anyone you think would like to join us on our next excursion. I'll see you in 2 weeks. And remember, whether in the shadows or in the daylight, all twisted paths take you into the night.